I have 3 great tips for making filet mignon. What are they? Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's episode. Yes, I have 3 great ways or tips for making filet mignon. And as it turns out, it was my birthday a few weeks ago and my family bought me a box of Omaha steaks. I don't know if you've ever had those before, but it's really nice to have it arrive at your door. And 2 big boxes with filet mignons that were about 2 inches thick. Wow, they were just fantastic. And of course, do I have a wine to go with this filet mignon, and it's delicious. And if you stay till the end, I'm going to give you a great tip on how to make an easy wine sauce. That's no fail. It'll be great with those filet mignons. So let's start with some basics about filet mignon. Well, as you know, filet mignons are very soft and supple meat, so they don't need too much. And I think, make the mistake of grilling those. And you know what? It's so delicate and that high heat, and it doesn't have a lot of fat. Well, there's a reason if you've ever seen a bacon wrapped filet mignon on the grill. It was a way of sort of, kind of keeping it together and giving it some of the fat and make all that nice charring on it. So I've actually found grilling to be my least favorite of making filet mignon. So what I'm going to walk you through is one of my no-fail tips, which is pan searing it and then finishing it in the oven. Another great tip I found is, those filet mignons are so supple, so soft and juicy, you really don't need to marinate them. In fact, the more you marinate them, really it just soaks into the meat. It's already tender, so what you're really getting is sort of a soft marinade. With the marinade flavor can, maybe come through too much, and then actually kind of goes against your wine. So with fillets, unlike say a New York strip or a porterhouse or a ribeye, it's kind of, big sturdy meats that can go ahead and take a marinade. But with filet mignon, not needed whatsoever. So what wine are we going to have with these gorgeous filet mignons that I'm going to walk you through how to prepare? I went with one of my standbys. This is a wonderful cab that you can get at your local grocery store. You can find it at Total Wine. I've seen it at Trader Joe's. And, so it's fairly easy to get. And it's maybe a little on the special occasion side. It's about the $35 range, so good for a Saturday night if that's what you'd like to do. And I wanted to celebrate because, what a great birthday present to receive in the mail. So I went with the BV Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon, and you'll notice on the label that it says Rutherford on it. So if you remember from some of our other episodes, the labels are always going to tell you something, especially if it's a French label or an Italian label or a German label. But as you know, if it's a Cabernet and it just is from anywhere in California, it says Cabernet, California. Well, this one, of course, says Napa Valley. Well, that's good for you because now you know, at least the grapes are going to all come from Napa Valley. Well, so you notice this one says Rutherford. Wow, my favorite spot on Highway 29 as you go right up through the middle of the Napa Valley. In fact, Rutherford sits right in the middle of the Napa Valley. And it's just known for making these lush, supple, with the tannins not being too tight. It's called sort of dusty tannins. So the Rutherford area is known for this sort of dusty, tannin, kind of cocoa powdery texture. It's hard to explain until you've had one, so I would just love for you to search out the BV Napa Valley Rutherford Cabernet. It's just delicious. It'll be, if you're at the grocery store, it'll be top shelf. Go ahead and let it decant for about a half hour before you serve it. And I think you're going to love it. The dark fruit comes through, the black currant and the black cherry and plum. The black currant, it's just lovely. It has some nice acidity. It went really well with my steak. But again, the tannins aren't so overpowering that, makes your mouth all pucker and dry, that I couldn't appreciate the soft, supple meat. Again, filet mignon, supple, tender, juicy, delicious. So your wine doesn't have to be too over the top or too strong to kind of cut through like what porterhouse and ribeye is my other 2 favorite steaks. So this is a great wine to I think, serve with that. Easy to find, nice celebration. It's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous wine. That doesn't break the bank, and you can have it on a Saturday night with your special filet mignons. So we've looked at this great wine to have with your filet mignon. Now let's talk about how to make it. Well, I recommend pan-searing it and then finishing it in the oven. It just turns out perfectly every time. So what you want to do is get your pan, going before you put the steaks on. Get it, hot. Don't go too crazy now. I'm using some new pans that are ceramic pans, and they definitely say don't get too crazy like I do with my stainless steel. So anyway, get your pan going. And then you look at my filet mignons, and I didn't do anything, remember, no marinating. I just sea salt, freshly cracked pepper, and a little bit of olive oil on top. And another great tip, let them come to room temperature before you cook your steaks. Never fails to make it just extra juicy and tender. Then I'll pan sear them. 3 minutes for the size of this steak, it varies, but these steaks I put 3 minutes on each side. And then I took them off and I put them in the oven at 400 degrees for about another 4 minutes. I'm trying to get to about 130 degrees with my instant read thermometer, because I like mine definitely medium. We have some good friends who love it medium rare, and whenever I go over to their house, they always have to get it more medium for me. So I definitely like mine a very dark pink in the center. And you know what, this technique of pan searing and then putting in the oven gives you that nice crusty top on the top and the bottom, and a nice pretty pink in the center. So if that's the way you like it, I think you're gonna love this technique. So I was doing it, I was roasting my potatoes in the oven anyway, so it worked out really well. So put them in the oven, let them finish cooking in there. I pull them out, and another great tip, let them rest. All right, so a good resting on a warm plate for another 5 minutes before you serve it. And that usually gives the meat plenty of time to rest. So there you have it. Try to avoid grilling your filet mignon. Use the pan and sear and roast in the oven technique. And you really don't need to use marinades. You can if you want to, of course. But your marinades are going to soak up into that meat that's already tender, and you don't really need it. Just salt, pepper, and a little olive oil. Those steaks are so nice, and if you're going to go to the trouble of buying some expensive filet mignons, don't do anything with them, right? And then you want your wine to shine. So if your meat tastes too much like something else, it's going to interfere with your wine. So simple steaks, dynamite tasting cab, and you have a fantastic evening in front of you. Well, I promised if you stay to the end, I'd give you one of my techniques for making a very simple wine sauce. So really, after you've taken your steaks out and you've put them into the oven to finish cooking, you could do this quick sauce. You'll only need about a tablespoon of cold butter. You'll need a little bit of beef stock or veal stock. I actually use demi-glace, which is a little thicker version of, say, beef stock or veal stock. It gives it a little better consistency. So maybe about a half a cup of stock, and maybe about a half a cup of red wine, and a tablespoon of butter. So what do? Well, get your pan hot again. It may already be hot. Pour your wine in and let it bubble vigorously, because you want it to reduce quite a bit, about by half, right? So when it starts to look sort of syrupy, now you could pour in your demi-glace or your beef stock, right? And then go ahead and let that reduce some more. So when it starts to look, fairly thick, that it would look like a sauce that would coat the back of your spoon, something like that. Well, then go ahead and turn your heat off. Take that cube of butter and whisk it in nice and gently into your sauce, and you're done. That's all you have to do. Now, all you have to do is pull your steaks from the plate and put a nice little spoonful of sauce on the bottom of that, on top of the plate. Put your steak on top of the sauce. Any way you want to serve it's fine. And then there you go. So wow. There we go. Another little cooking technique, the way I enjoyed my birthday present this year. And this beautiful Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon from Rutherford, right in the heart of Napa Valley. It's my favorite place in Napa Valley, my favorite wines. Actually, some of the wines from that area are about very expensive, right? So this is the place of Staglin and Camus. So very expensive wines. Wines that go for, 120 on up per bottle. So Rutherford is known for making some very nice wines. But guess what? This BV, you'll be at your grocery store and you can drink really well. So I hope you get a chance to try your filet mignons with my pan sear and then roast technique. Maybe even give the wine sauce a try. Let me know how it went for you, or if you have any questions, just contact me. Well, thank you so much for being such great subscribers. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be making some more episodes very soon. And until next time, everyone, keep exploring the world of wine with us. See you next time. Cheers.